in Australia, growing up, a lot of kids would have played a game called Forcey Backs. And it's like tug of war, in a way, but with a football, or you could use a soccer ball, you could use anything. And you have two teams on either side, and the idea is to kick the ball as far as you possibly can and force the other team back. And you know, if you can force the other team back over their line, then you win the game. So I've been thinking about that as kind of a metaphor for self-care, because you know, stresses come at you and they force you back. Like, I've noticed that the more stress I have, the more like my positive habits are harder to maintain, and any old negative habits, it's easier for them to creep back into my daily practice. And I'm quite mindful of it. I'm quite happy with myself and my self-care, and I'm like, give myself a pat on the back most days. But I'm really interested in like how much can I be pushed back towards my line before it becomes significant. At the moment, like the other team is pushing, and the other team is just like all the stresses and all of the uncertainty, fears, anger, like whatever, however it presents itself, the things that feel like they're pushing you, you know, pushing you back. And so different people will cope with that in different ways. For me, food is my current thing that I use when I'm feeling stressed, which is fine at the moment because most days I fast in the mornings anyway. So if I'm feeling like today's going to be particularly difficult or particularly stressful, having breakfast is like such an enormous benefit. Like I feel like I have so much more energy because I'm used to being in that fasting state. So that's not necessarily unhealthy, but if I get pushed further and I don't like assert solid boundaries with work or whatever's going on, and I don't like stop it from pushing me back too far, then maybe I'll eat breakfast and some sugary snacks. And I used to drink coffee. I only drink decaf now. So I guess what I'm doing right now in the present moment is I'm comparing like my current coping to like my old coping. And I think what I'm doing really well, and what I would like to share, and maybe you'll have your own insights about this, is I don't have a lot of negative habits that stack in a way like that. The negative habit feeds on itself, like these like vicious cycles. So for example, coffee was one of the worst ones for me. And like, I'm not saying like coffee's bad, but for me, the way that my relationship with it was, I would have a coffee because I felt stressed and I felt like I needed more energy. So I would do that, and then of course it doesn't really resolve the issue and actually exacerbates the like your mind speeds up and you're feeling a little bit more sensitive to everything that's going on around you, so it would actually create more anxiety. But because that's familiar to you and that's normal to you, like quite often it's preferable. So I was kind of in that, like it was familiar to me to be like really elevated in that caffeinated state, or elevated in any way. Like I really enjoy being elevated, and that's no secret from all of the journals, and it's not probably never going to change. I get bored really easily, and that's a part of my personality that I value. Like I don't want to not be like somebody who wants to go and do all the things. Maybe I'll change my mind someday. But yeah, I used to just drink coffee, get anxious, and then feel like overwhelmed, like I need more energy to deal with the situation, so I drink more coffee. So that's what I mean by like things that like feed on themselves. Coffee's one of them, sugar's another one of them. Anything that you can turn into an addiction, really. And you know, different people have different definitions of what addiction means, whether you're honest with yourself or trying to kind of find a loophole so that you can continue your behavior. But it's funny because, like, why do I look for a loophole to continue a behavior that I know is not right for me? Like, there's nobody out there auditing my life externally and saying, like, look, you're lying to yourself and you have to change. Like, it's all on me. So, like, if I'm lying to myself, no one's gonna double check that. Like, so that's why I'm so, like, mindful of being honest with myself, and why I find this process of documenting my thoughts and feelings in the present moment so valuable, because it's really hard to bullshit consistently for 5, 10, 20, 30 minutes, you know? Like, you're going to have to develop a way to express yourself. Like, you're either going to have to be really good at pushing so many things aside, or you're going to have to just start being honest. And I think I'm doing a bit of both, to be honest. Like, and I need to. I've expressed in the last journal, there's like certain things that I simply cannot share for legal reasons, for safety reasons, and even just my own personal boundaries. So there is some compartmentalization going on when I record the journals, and that's taken time to develop that as well. But the part where you've got to be honest with yourself, like, it's so exhausting. If anybody's ever done anything like this before, even if it's just, nobody is ever going to see it, if you're just doing it for yourself, you're writing your authentic thoughts and feelings out in a personal journal. Like, it's exhausting the more that I bullshit. Like, if I try to bend the truth or create a narrative that makes me feel really good about myself that I know isn't true, no matter how deeply I want to believe the lie, like, the more deeply I want to believe the lie, the more it just feels like it's exhausting me. Like, it's just draining my energy, because it's like, it's that conflict with yourself, like conflict with your own heart. This is not the truth. So again, you're in that weird, like, getting drained by just your own conflict with yourself. It's so interesting. Like, there's nobody out there that's going to come and tell you that, like, you're lying to yourself, but it doesn't matter. It's still exhausting. It feels like you've got to, like, maintain all these lies. And isn't that revealing psychologically for me to be, for this to be surfacing right now? But I do feel like I'm lying and I'm full of shit a lot of the time, and I'm omitting things, and I'm bending the truth, and I'm sharing a narrative that makes me look really good or feel really good in the moment. Like, so many things. I have the understanding that the more I tell the truth and the more honest I am with myself and with the world, like, the easier it is. All of that stuff that I just said is true, but I still find myself lying to myself. Or just, we all want to present an image of ourselves that is, you know, awesome. Like, it's positive. We want to present an image of ourselves that we have strong principles and values, and, you know, I want to be somebody that other people can trust and rely on, and I want to have, you know, I have an image of who I would like to be, and I have the knowledge of the truth of who I am and who I've been. So it's kind of like a reconciliation process, really, because, like, I'm not who I was. That's true, but that's still like that, you know, we can use that to kind of escape the truth. Like, I'm not who I was, I'm who I am now. But the process of change and the process of evolution is ongoing. Like, it's not like the ideal self that I'm trying to portray here, the ideal self that I'm trying to embody, it's not present yet. Like, and maybe that's not even necessarily, but watch this. maybe that's not even necessarily me bullshitting myself. Maybe there is truth to this, like I'm on my way to these ideals and I'm on my way to embodying these principles and values, but like there's no way out of it. Like, but it's interesting because like you can't beat yourself up either. Like I can't sit here and say like I'm full of shit and like my whole life's a lie and like I've just been presenting this like idealized version of myself in these journals and in all of the works that I've created and shared with the world. Like there's truth, there's me in it, there's like the real me, but there's a process of evolution and change that's unfolding as well. So it's a paradox of, you know, just being in it again that you keep coming back to if you're any kind of creative person. Like you just know that you never arrive anywhere and you're always leaving, you know, a recent past version of yourself and you're on your way to a new future ideal, but you're never, like you're always just here. Like I'm always just Kai. And, you know, sometimes I talk to people about this process because they're curious about it and they watch a few videos and they, you know, start to contemplate their own narrative of their lives, and they make me wonder. But yeah, it doesn't feel like there's a cohesive narrative in this moment, and in most moments where I'm recording a journal, I'm like, there's no way that what's going on inside me in this moment has anything to do with what was going on inside me in all these other moments. Like I don't feel like the dots are ever going to connect. But sometimes when I go back through them, even just like looking at the titles, I can remember like vaguely like where I was at and what was going on inside me, and I can see that it does, like there is a cohesive narrative, and it's not something that you could ever consciously construct. It's not something like, life is not something that I believe you could ever script, like the really profound and extraordinary stories that we see in life and around us in our communities, like, and nothing extraordinary could ever be scripted. That's like, I don't know, like I think if you could, you know, formulate or architect or script a really profound, extraordinary story or creation or art or anything with like total, you know, you are the architect of every piece of that creation, from your, like, I'm talking about like from your mind, like imagining it purely and like putting all this, like knowing all the steps and like controlling the whole process with your ego. Like I don't think that that's possible to create something truly profound and extraordinary. I think that the most profound and extraordinary things are people that are winging it, for like to say it with, you know, in a way that it really is like you're winging it, like you don't know what's going to happen. I never know what's going to happen. Like the most powerful things that I've ever created, even, oh, this is like a little secret, I reckon, that like a lot of artists, it's like an unspoken secret that we all know, that everybody that I've ever worked with who's done extraordinary things, like we never have to say it, but we know that each other knows. Like even when you appear to have a plan and you've got your script, you've got your step-by-step process, and you know, you're instructing the team, like this is what you're gonna do, that's what you're gonna do, like it's still like 1% of it is actually a plan, and like 99% of it is just everything unfolding in this miraculous manner where, you know, you're just, for example, when I've shot music videos in the past, like I didn't have a lot of experience early days when I was making music videos, but I shot some scenes that just looked absolutely incredible because I was, you know, while I was flowing with everything that was going on in the moment, like people would just like walk into the frame in a particular way and hit, like the light would filter through, and like I'd just see something that I could never plan in a million years, and I'd go, that looks good, everybody do that more. Like, and just being able to go with that kind of flow is what has been the most extraordinary And I'm trying to bring that kind of same understanding that like nothing can be super planned. I'm trying to bring that into every aspect of my life and really like trust that, you know, I can't think of a better way to do it than the way that it's going to happen if I just roll with it. And you know, you make a lot of mistakes this way too. Some people would be terrified of like the risks involved in just like showing up to things with absolutely no idea what you're going to do. And like, I don't think you can ever have no idea what you're going to do anyway, because like, even if you try to switch this brain thing off, like it just keeps going. Like you gotta think about this, think about this, think about this. But I find the less that I listen to all that noise and the more that I just observe what's in front of me, and like really like it's just, I'm waiting for the opportunity to present itself. I'm waiting for, it's like the instructions from the universe show up. Like one of my favorite people that I've ever, that's like a speaker as well, says it's like a GPS, and like the GPS doesn't give you all of the instructions to your destination because that would be ridiculous and overwhelming. It will only tell you the next turn. So it's like that. Like I want to live like that. Like what do I do now? And just like what's in front of me? What am I feeling? What does my intuition say? What are the people around me indicating? Like what's available? Like let's make, because you can't like know what's going to be available in each moment of your entire life. Like you don't have the information until you're in the moment. It's in front of you and the possibility is emerging. And then do you seize that possibility, or are you too busy trying to project some preconceived image of how this should be onto the moment and missing everything? And that can be so intense. Like I've experienced it for sure in moments in my life where I've been really neurotic and really attached to the way that I want the outcomes to be. So I'm looking at the moment and I'm not seeing any possibility. I'm just seeing I'm just probably seeing anti-possibility. Like I'm angry that the universe isn't rearranging itself to meet my neurotic vision for how this moment should be. And I'm getting frustrated with people. Why are you doing that? You should be over here doing this and blah, 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 blah. And then even in those moments where I'm really neurotic and I'm trying to control everything, the universe still gives you a little slap in the face and goes, hey, have a look at this, and shows you this opportunity. And yeah, like I've found that like I can't miss it sometimes. If it's really important, like it just makes its way into my awareness. But like instead of like being in that conflict and confrontation with what is, like really making it a practice and being mindful to work with reality and work with the moment and be open. Blank slate every single second of every single day. If I could blank slate my mind and just be like, forget anything that you thought you knew about this moment. What is this moment? Like for real, like take it in, absorb this information, allow it to like really resonate inside of you, and then act from a place where you are in this moment. You're a part of it. You're not in some internal reality version of this that you would like it to be or you wouldn't like it to be, or it just like you're just distracted completely and you're out of touch completely, over caffeinated, or like whatever it is, you know. I just want to be here and I want to roll with it, and I don't want to be afraid of any of the extreme high risk possibilities in my workplace, for example. Like, yeah, sure, like these are the 1 million things that could go wrong, and these are all of the things that are in place. If X happens, then you've got to do Y. Like I'm aware of it, but maybe if I'm just in this moment for real, something more important will present itself, and there's an opportunity for something to happen differently instead of just repeating the same program that like these people have been stuck in for the entire time. Like I think that's why as a support worker in my mental health role, I keep getting like just kayak, do this one, like moved all over the place to do these complex supports, because I don't just follow the step by step. I'm aware of it, sure, I don't want to sound unprofessional, I do what is needed to be done, I do my paperwork, I tick the boxes, all of that. But very often the most profound impact that I've been able to have in a person's life is just actually seeing something that was never seen before, because we're we're projecting this old version of reality onto the present moment that's actually new. That's a practical application in my current life for what I'm talking about. If you get anything out of these video journals, please click the like button for me. Leave your comments down below. I want to hear what you're thinking and feeling. I want to know what's going on inside of the people that take the time to watch this content. Subscribe if you haven't already, and pass these videos on to anybody you know who may benefit. Anybody that, you know, has been looking for like connection and like thinking more deeply about life and reality, what's going on, how do we navigate this. It's what I'm all about. There's so much content here, so many experiences that I've been able to deeply articulate and share. So I'll see you again pretty shortly, I reckon.